Hey guys, it's Gina. Welcome to the place where your growth meets mine. Let's talk. I want to start with something strange. Right now, in this exact moment, there are two of you watching this. One of you is feeling something. Maybe it's quiet anxiety. Maybe it's the weight of something that you haven't been able to name. Maybe it's numbness, which is its own kind of feeling, by the way. Maybe it's that persistent hum of something wrong, but even you don't know what it is. That version of you, that's feeler. And then there is another part of you, the one who just heard me say that. The one who quietly went, yeah, that's true. That's the one who is aware that you are feeling. The one watching your own experience, like someone watching a storm from a behind window. That version of you, that's the observer. Now, these are not two different people. They're both you. But understanding the difference between them, like really understanding, might be one of the most useful things that you will do for yourself. When you are suffering, when you are inside of a situation that feels impossible, like the walls are closing and like there is no door, you are almost always operating from only one of these two selves. And most of the time, it's always the wrong one. But I don't want to say wrong as a bad way of being wrong, but wrong as insufficient. Like you're trying to read a map while you're trying to spin in circles. Like you can't read a map when you are the spinning, you know what I mean? So, today I want to talk to both of you. I want to talk to the one who is hurting, and I want to really introduce you to the one who is watching. The observer in you has never left, not once, not in your worst moments, not in the darkest nights. Not in the middle of panic attacks or the grief or the shame or the spiral or the moment that you thought you couldn't go on. It has always been there, watching you, waiting. Before I tell you more about the observer, before I give you any tools, I need to do something first. I need to actually go into what I call the feelers world with you. Too many people, in too many videos or too many books, they rush past this part. They say, acknowledge your feelings, and then immediate pivot to a situation. And what that communicates is that your feelings are something to get through, like they are an obstacle, a problem. And to me, that is exactly the wrong lesson. The feeler in you lives in time differently than the observer. To the feeler, the present moment is not a moment, it's a permanent condition. When you are in pain, when the relationship ends, when you lose the job, when the anxiety peaks, the feeler in you doesn't say this is happening right now. The feeler says this is how things are. This is what it is true. This is what it always feel and be. You know that feeling. So pause for a moment, let it breathe. The feeling that is not just I am sad, but I am sadness. Not I am going through something hard, but this is my life. This is just what my life is. So, in that moment, the feeler collapses time. It takes a moment, expands it until it feels everything. Until there is no before and no after. Only the pain, only the problem, only the wall. Now, I am not saying that to judge the feeler is better. I'm explaining the situation because I want you to understand something with all of your mind's clarity. Suffering. It's not just about what is happening to you. Suffering is significantly shaped by how your mind is organizing what is happening to you. So, the pain might be real, yes, completely real. I'm not dismissing the pain, but the story, the feeler inside of you builds around the pain. This will never end, or I will never recover, or there is no other way. Those stories that your mind tells you are not facts. They are the feeler doing what the feeler is designed to do, feeling fully, completely, without perspective. And that is not a flaw, that is not a weakness in you, that is actually what feelings are supposed to do. Feelings are supposed to consume your attention. That's how feelings communicate something important happening to you. That's how they make sure that you don't ignore them. But the problem after this comes when the feeler becomes the only voice in the room of your mind and heart. When the feeler becomes the only narrator, feeler is making all the decisions. So the feeler in you is writing the story. Because the feeler, as real and as valid as it is not reliable. It is not a reliable narrator in your life. Think of the last time you were absolutely certain, completely 100% certain that the situation was hopeless. I have mine. I already have mine. That there was no solution. That was the end. Now, think about where you are now. You are watching this video, which means you are here, which means the end that the feeler was so certain about wasn't actually the end, right? So, it was a moment that felt like the end. Now let me tell you about the observer. Well, the observer is that part inside of you that just watched everything I described and quietly said, yes, I know that feeling. So the observer is the part that can look at your own pain with some degree of spaciousness. I don't want to call it coldness, but neither detachment, not I don't care, but I want to name it spaciousness. So, the observer is why, when you look back at old journal entries from hard times, read your own words and feel something that you who wrote them couldn't feel, which is perspective. So, the journal entry hasn't changed, but the observer can now see the whole picture, not just inside of a frame, because the observer is why, let's say, therapy works. And it's not because a therapist tells you what to do and what to do not. Because a therapist creates a space where the observer in you can come forward and look at what the feeler has been living through. The observer is why art works, why music works, why you can sit with a song that perfectly captures your sadness and feel paradoxically less alone, less trapped. Because the song, observer, a vantage point. Someone else has been there. Someone else understands this exact place and survived it enough to write something beautiful about it. Can you now see the difference between the observer and the feeler? So the observer is the part of you that is fundamentally, indestructibly okay, even when everything else is not. And it's always there. It's always inside of you. Now I want to be a bit careful here, because I know how this can sound. I know that when you are in the middle of, let's say, a genuine suffering phase, like you are fundamentally okay, so the feeler experiences the fire. The observer knows there is someone experiencing it. Now I want to focus on a practical side of this, how to shift between the observer and the feeler. Now, lean back again. Let's be practical here. And let me give you some real usable ways to access the observer in you, because we want to use the observer more, so we are in control. The first practice is what I call the third person shift. And this one is disarmingly simple and has some of the strongest research behind it. So, when you are in the middle of a painful moment, instead of saying in your head or out loud, "I am so overwhelmed, I can't do this, I don't know what to do," use your own name. Speak to yourself in the third person. Let me say your name, and you say, "Is feeling overwhelmed right now." Your name is in a hard moment. What does your name need? And it sounds almost childish, but it might even feel a little silly the first time that you do it. But something neurologically interesting will happen when you do this practice, because you create a tiny crucial gap between the experience at the moment and the experience that you are becoming. So briefly, partially, the observer. That gap, however small, is enough to change the quality of the moment. Psychologists call these self-distances, and research shows that it reduces the emotional intensity and improves decision-making under stress, the anxious loop of replaying painful thoughts. You don't need to understand the neuroscience behind it, just try it. Next time the feeler has the wheel, ask, "What do you need?" Pause, let it breathe, and then start asking the other questions. Now, second practice, the documentary narration. This is a variation on the same principle. So when you are in a difficult moment, you narrate about it out loud, if possible, internally if not, as if you are in a documentary filmmaker observing yourself. And there is a person sitting in this room right now who is feeling a heaviness in their chest. Their thoughts are moving quickly. They are trying to find a solution, or they're trying to find a solution that feels unsolvable. They have been trying very hard for a long time. And what happens to you when you do this? Well, this is the important part. You begin to feel something that the feeler alone cannot access, which is compassion for yourself. Because you can feel compassion for the person in the documentary. You can see how hard, you can see how much they are caring, and you can see that they deserve gentleness. The feeler will say, I am a mess, or I am failing, why can't I fix this? While the observer, as documentary narrator, will say, this is a person who is doing their best in a very genuine, difficult situation. Look at them. Look at how much they care. Same person. Completely different experience. Now, the third practice is what I call the time-lapse question. So, when the feeler is convinced that the current situation is permanent, that this pain, this problem, this impossible situation is just how things are, ask the observers question. What will the me of 5 years from now about this moment that I can't see right now think? Not will it be better, not does it get easier. Those are the feeler's questions, right? Right now, the feeler has only one answer, and we know that. While the observer's question is different, is asking you to inhabit a future vantage point, the same vantage point that you have when you look back at past pain with the full knowledge of what came after. So, you have done, you have been the future self looking back at the moment that felt impossible, and you are right now someone's past self who survives something that once felt unsurvivable. And I love this practice. The future observer they are already out there, and they already know how this chapter ends. And even if you can't know the ending, even if you can't see the shore, you can borrow their vantage point for a moment. And you can ask, what are they seeing that I am missing? And now, the fourth practice. Well, this might be the most counterintuitive one, but before you try to access the observer, before you reach for any of these tools, give the feeler a full, uninterrupted moment to speak. Don't skip it, don't manage it, don't rush it toward a conclusion. Write it down, say it out loud. Find a human being who can hold without trying to fix it, or just sit with it and let it be there fully for 2 minutes. Don't care, because the feeler gets louder when it's not heard. It escalates because escalation is how it demands attention. It's a child pulling on your sleeve, and the more it, the harder it will pull you. So, when you genuinely turn and say, I see you, I hear you, tell me something in the system, and the system will settle. Not all the way, but enough. The observer doesn't defeat the feeler, it doesn't silence it or override it. It listens to it, and in that listening, it holds it. And in that holding, it makes the whole thing just a little more bearable. Hey guys, it's Gina. Welcome to the place where your growth meets mine. I'll see you next time.